It's true, yes. I have been ill. Very ill. But why do they say I've lost control of my mind? Why do they say that I am mad? Can they not see that I have full control of my mind? Is it not clear then that I am not mad? Indeed, the illness only made my mind, my feelings, my senses stronger, more powerful. My sense of hearing especially became more powerful. I could hear sounds I'd never heard before. I heard sounds from heaven. I heard sounds from hell. Listen, listen, and I will tell you how it happened, and you will see, and then you will know just how healthy is my mind. It's impossible to say how the idea first entered my head. There was no reason for what I did. I did not hate the old man. You might even say I kind of loved him. He had not done me wrong, and I did not want his money. I think it was his eye. His eye was like the pale blue eye of a vulture, the eye of one of those terrible birds that watch and wait whilst an animal dies, then falls upon the dead body and pulls it to pieces to eat it. When the old man looked at me with his vulture eye, a cold feeling went up and down my back. Even my blood ran cold. And so, gradually, little by little, I made up my mind to kill that old man and close his eye forever. And they say that I am mad. Why, madmen don't plan. And I plan things perfectly. During all of the week before I killed him, I was as friendly to that old man as I could be, and warm and loving. Every night around 12 o'clock, I would go up to the old man's bedchamber and slowly open the door. Very slowly. And when the door was open wide enough, I would first put in my hand and then my head. And in my hand, I held a lamp covered over with a cloth so that no light showed. And I'd stand there, quietly, not wanting to disturb the old man's rest. And then, when I deemed the time was right, I would gradually lift the cloth just a little so that a small single light fell across the old man's face. For 7 nights I did this, 7 long nights, every night at midnight, but always the eye was closed. Now, on the 8th night, I was more than usually careful as I opened the door. The minute hand of my pocket watch moves more quickly than did my hand. But for all my care, I think I must have disturbed that old man because he shifted in his sleep. Now, you may think that I stepped back, but no. The darkness in the room was thick and black, and I knew he could not see me opening that door, so I continued to push, slowly, softly. I put in my hand with a covered light. I put in my head, and then suddenly, without warning, the old man sits straight up in bed and cried, "Who's there? Who's there, I say? Show yourself, why don't you?" I stood quite still. I watched. I waited. I did not move while he sat there, listening. Then out of nowhere, I heard this low whimper. It was the groan of mortal terror, and I knew then he was filled with fear. He could not see me there, he could not hear me there, but he felt me there, oh yeah, and he knew that death was standing there. Slowly I lifted the cloth until a small slither of white light escaped and fell across that pale vulture eye. Only this time, it was open, wide open, and my anger increased as it stared straight at me. I could not see the old man's face, only that eye, that hard blue eye, and the blood in my body became like ice. Now, did I not tell you some time ago that my hearing had become unusually strong? Because in the deathly silence of that room, I started to discern this steady, soft, quick sound, like the sound of a clock heard through a wall. It was the beating of the old man's heart. And as his fear increased, the sound grew louder. And as the sound grew louder, my anger increased. But in the quiet of the night, in the still darkness of that room, my anger turned to fear. For the heart was beating so loudly now, I was sure someone must hear. The time had come. It was now or never. I rushed into the room crying, "Die, vulture, die!" And I fell upon the old man and I held the bed covers tightly over his head. For many minutes, his heart continued to beat, and then the beating stopped. The old man was dead. I took away the bed covers and held my ear over his heart. Oh, there was no sound. He was dead all right, dead as a stone. His vulture eye would trouble me no more. Now, if they still think me mad, they will think so no longer when I describe the wise precautions I took for the concealment of the body. Mindful not to leave a trace of blood, I first cut off his head, then his arms, and then his legs. Next, I took up 3 of the boards that formed the floor, and I laid the pieces of the body there. Then, carefully, very carefully, I replaced the boards so that no human eye could see that they'd ever been moved. Now, as I completed my labors, I heard the town clock strike 4, and as the 4th bell chimed, there came a knocking at the street door. One of the neighbors must have heard the old man's screams and called for the police. Safe in the knowledge that my work was done, I went downstairs to see who'd come a-calling in the middle of the night. There were 3 of them, 3 officers of the law. As I suspected, they'd come to ask questions about the screams and to search the old man's house. Well, I smiled and I bade the gentleman welcome, for what had I to fear? The shriek I said was mine in a dream, but as for the old man, why, he's gone away to visit a friend in the country, but you are more than welcome to look around if you still feel the need. I took them over the entire house, and of course, they found nothing. At length, I led them to the old man's bedchamber, and I showed them his treasures, secure and undisturbed. In my confidence, I even brought chairs into the room and desired them here to rest from their fatigues, whilst I, in the wild audacity of my perfect triumph, placed my own seat immediately upon the very spot beneath which lay the old man's corpse. As if playing a game with them, I asked them to sit down and talk for a while. Well, my easy, calm demeanor made those policemen believe my story, so they started talking with me in a friendly way. And although I responded in the same manner and answered all their questions, I soon wished they would go. My head began to hurt, and there was this strange sound in my ears. I talked more and faster, but the more I talked, the clearer the sound became, and then it hit me. Oh, that sound was not in my ears. Oh no, not just inside my head. It came from somewhere else. And at that moment, I think I must have become quite pale. I talked still faster and louder, but the sound too became louder, like the sound of a clock heard through a wall, a sound I knew only too well. Louder it became, and louder still. And all the time they just sat there smiling and talking. Why would these men not go? What were they waiting for? Louder! Louder! To make more noise, I dragged my chair across the floor to hide that terrible sound. I talked even louder, but still they sat and smiled. Was it possible they could not hear? Oh no, they heard. They heard all right. I was certain of it. They knew all right. And now it was they who were playing a game with me. They who were making a mockery of my horror, and I was suffering more than I could bear from their smiles and that sound. I could take it no longer. I felt that I must scream or die. I pointed to the boards. I said, yeah, I admit it. I killed him. I killed that old man with his vulture eye. But why? Why does his heart not stop beating? Tear up those planks and you will see the beating of his hideous heart. It's true, yes. I have been ill. Very ill. But why do they say I've lost control of my mind? Why do they say that I am mad?